here?
What?
What's his name? Cherry. Yeah, he got poop up. No. It's what happened.
Yeah.
That's my whole mouth. Stop moving the table.
Flour and egg. I taste some lemon. You have some fish that
Boys and girls, don't throw your cups in the garbage can. These cups are recyclable. They have a triangle on the bottom. That means we can recycle them and use them again. They'll be melted down to plastic. I've most of Oh, well, if there's enough.
Can I get this?
Jody,
Is this my did I have it? He said I can hear. Yeah, good one. Yeah. My phone.
Okay, I would like these people to line up facing Mrs. Jackson when I call your name. Jake and Manuel.
Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on one-horse open sleigh.
How about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Then you need to be sitting down and get with the goats. Buck, back up. You weren't supposed to be past the Christmas tree. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little pine tree in the woods. This pine tree's name happens to be David. David was not a very happy pine tree. He lived in a forest with regular trees and regular leaves, and he was the only pine tree with needles.
I don't like having pine needles.
And so the pine tree wished that he had a different kind of leaf.
I wish I had.
Leaves of gold. In the morning, the pine tree woke up. Boys and girls, remember that you have some parts to say and some parts to listen to. When the pine tree woke up, he couldn't believe it. He looked at his branches and said,
Oh, it's came true. Now you move something there.
but along came a family of bears. They were walking through the forest waiting for their porridge to cool.
Go.
Brandon? They stopped in front of the little pine tree and rubbed their eyes. I won't go on until our audience is quiet. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Gold leaves? They decided they would take these gold leaves and sell them. And then they'll have lots of money. And that's what they did. And the bears took the gold leaves and went on their way. And now the pine tree was very sad. He looked at his branches and said, I'll never. Much louder, David.
Never wish for gold leaves again, because some animal will always take them away.
And so the pine tree made a second wish.
I'm waiting. Candy leaves. For candy leaves. I am night. Close your eyes, pine tree, and go to sleep.
In the morning, the pine tree woke up. When the pine tree looked at his branches, he was surprised and happy, and he said,
My wish came true. Now I'm more beautiful than their trees.
along came some little girls skipping through the forest. And they stopped in front of the pine tree and rubbed their eyes. Could it really be a tree of candy? They decided to pick the candy leaves and share them with their friends. And now the pine tree was very sad again, and he said, I will never.
Some kid will always come and take candy.
Boys and girls,
Now I wish I could.
excuse me, Dave, they don't know better, but you do know better. Okay, now the pine tree has wished for gold leaves and candy leaves, but they didn't work out so well. So now he makes a third wish.
I wish for glass leaves.
Leaves of glass.
I am night. Close your eyes, pine tree, and go to sleep.
In the morning, the pine tree woke up. When he looked at his branches, he was delighted, and he said,
I wish came true. Now I am more beautiful than their trees.
but along came a strong north wind, huffing and puffing and shaking the leaves of the trees. The wind knocked those glass leaves to the ground, and they broke in a million pieces. Kip, thank you. And now the little pine tree again was very sad, and he said,
I'll never wish glass leaves again, because someone will always blow them.
so the pine tree made a fourth wish. What do you wish for, pine tree? Where's our knight? when he looked at his branches, he was delighted. And he said,
"Oh, it came true. Now you will be from the tree."
along came a family of goats. Timothy, they looked at those tall trees and couldn't reach those branches. But they could reach the branches of the pine tree, and they nibbled off the green leaves. And then they went on their way. Ate all the leaves, and the tree said, "I'll never." Finally, the pine tree made his last wish. Night. Go sit down. Go sit down.
Close your eyes, pine tree, and go to sleep.
In the morning, the pine tree woke up. Pine tree? The pine tree said, "I feel." Along came a family of rabbits, hopping through the forest. They stopped in front of the pine tree. Rabbits, you need to turn around and face the audience like you did before. Kip, they smelled the air, and one of them said,
What did they smell? It smells like pine needles. It's just a great spot to eat a lunch.
and so they opened their lunch bags, took out their carrots, and enjoyed their lunch. Everybody, the moral of the story is,
Be yourself.
okay. David, you need to stand up and just stay in behind me, please.
Up to you. 1, 2, 3. Over here. Take that. 1, 2, 3.
And a 1. Everybody standing up beside the tree, not beside me. One up there, Nathan. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Okay, give yourselves a hand. Boys and girls, take off your hat, put it on the sand table.
She's going to